When refinishing vintage furniture, I try and stick to staining the wood as opposed to painting it. Usually, these pieces always have a real solid wood construction, and it would be such a shame to paint over this beautiful wood. For this piece, I strayed slightly out of my comfort zone when it came to color choice. Let me know what you guys think about this decision. I always start off by removing the solid wood top from the rest of the dresser. The staining process I use, which you'll see later in this video, tends to get a little bit messy, and I would hate for the stain to leave spots all over the dresser. I decided to try out a new way to apply paint stripper for this piece. Applying the sides of the furniture with a brush just wasn't so effective, so I decided getting the same product in a spray can. This worked out very well, but cost way too much. I usually start out with a 40 grit sandpaper to speed through all the color and scratches on the surface. For the most part, I sand up to a 220 grit. I would not recommend going any higher than that when staining. Anything higher burnishes the wood and prevents the absorption of the stain. There was a small section where the wood was joined together was coming apart, so I used a 2-part wood filler to fill this void. When choosing a wood filler, make sure you get the one that can be stained. So while shopping around Home Depot, I noticed they sold a large can of sprayable stripper. So I used my garden sprayer to apply the stripper to all the drawers. It worked out very well. Sanding the drawer fronts was quite difficult due to the dual raised panel surface. I'm sure there's a special type of sander that can tackle this sort of drawer more effectively. So if you have any recommendations or tips and tricks, I would love to hear them. At first, when applying the stain, it just looked so white. I did have some regret come over me suddenly, and I knew there was no turning back at this point. But after the whole piece was finished up, it looked more like a raw wood color, when there isn't any unfinished pieces close by to compare to. What do you guys think? Should I have painted it a black chalk color instead? When applying the stain, I used the wiping cloth for the majority of the project. Using a sander with buffing pad tends to fling stain in every direction when sanding the sides and drawers. And if you saw my previous video, you'll see it was quite devastating. I used a buffing pad and sander only for the top here. If you're curious about the products I use in my videos and the colors, I will have all that information in the description. I honestly wanted to paint the legs a different contrasting color, but decided that the gold accents was enough. I spray painted the brass sleeves to freshen them up and stained the legs to match the rest of the dresser. I really couldn't make up my mind for the longest time about what to do with the hardware. I felt like they just didn't go well with the new color, but also wanted to keep the dresser as original as possible. So I kept the same hardware and sprayed them also, since they had a lot of wear, which exposed the silver beneath. And now, without further ado, the finished product. Should I have changed out the hardware? What do you think? Or was keeping the original hardware a better choice?